Hi everybody, it's Kim from Inside My Money, and we've had a question about a thing called the Vehicle Cost Report. So I'm going to show you how to create it, but first of all I'd just show you what it looks like when you've got a lot of data in it, and you can see sort of what we're aiming for before we get started. So the Vehicle Cost Report, it helps you see just how much it's costing you on average to run your car for petrol, and mostly for petrol. When I do obviously the vehicle expenses, I break it down into petrol, warrant of fitness and registration, maintenance and servicing, and then any other costs that you might have. So what we can see here is this one's been going for quite a number of years, so it's got quite a history. And it shows each transaction of the vehicle expense, so the amount of money that we've spent on this car's diesel, so amount of money you've spent to fill up. And then also what I do every time I go to the petrol pump is I write down the speedometer, the odometer rating. I can do that through a petrol card that I use. You can actually punch in the odometer rating into the machine when you're paying for the gas, and so that then brings it up on a transaction sheet, it's like a credit card, so it brings that up on the statement. But if you don't have that, then you can just write down your odometer rating at the time, and then you're going to, when you come into Homebank, you're going to make a special note down in the memo section when you're putting in your transaction, and you're going to use a special little code, and that will pick up the actual number of litres as well as the odometer rating, and then it will give you each transaction. Over time, it actually shows you how much you're spending per 100 kilometres, and then also it shows you over a period of time how many kilometres you've gone and how much that fuel has costed you. Now, when would you use this? Well, I'm going to use it when I want to replace my car, and you can see just how fuel efficient the next car is going to be. So I can look at how fuel efficient my cars are now, and then I can say, well, on average I'm paying $5.25 per 100 kilometres for fuel. So when I buy my next car, that's sort of my baseline of what I would like to try and achieve in terms of the next car, or better. Now there'll be ebbs and flows, of course, and so nothing's ever perfect, but it does over time give you quite a good look at how petrol prices have changed, how much fuel maybe you're going through every month. You could use it for that, and on average what the average cost of that fuel is. So you can sort of, it makes it maybe budgeting slightly easier when it comes to petrol, because that can be tricky sometimes. You look at times when you've maybe used a bit more or a bit less. So that's the vehicle you can really sort of use it. And if you are travelling for work and you are paying for the petrol and then you are claiming it back, then you could use it as an example, as evidence as well. You keep your fuel receipts and you put it into Homebank under, the particular car and fuel and work, and then you can keep a running total, and you can obviously show that you are, how many kilometres you're doing. If you are claiming expenses on the car for business, if you've got a business and you're claiming expenses on the car, then this could also maybe be a logbook, but I would definitely check with your accountant if that's appropriate, because I know you do need to keep a logbook. This could potentially be that record, but just check with your accountant. So that's all the why would you use it. Now I'm going to show you how to create it. Okay, so we're in Abby and Sam, our fictitious characters. If you go up to Manage and go Categories, and if you can go down and look for, and you can compress all of these, but at the moment I've just got car expenses for WAF, petrol, maintenance and car payment. Now that was fine if I wasn't doing a vehicle cost report, but if you are, then you actually need to change those and make it for the actual car's name. So I've gone down and I've made one called Toyota, and so down here under the general categories we've now got one called Toyota Petrol. So let's just imagine that they've got 2 cars. So we're going to create a new category. The new category is going to say, let's say it's a Mazda, and the subcategory, and you hit enter, and then in the subcategory is going to be petrol. Right, and you need those categories so that when you do your vehicle cost report, you can choose the right the cars that you're looking at for the report. So it's important that you do those. Now you might be thinking, oh God, do I now have to go and go through all those transactions and recategorize them? You can do one of 2 things. Yes, there's a quick way that you can go and you can categorize all your old petrol transactions and categorize them for the new one. So I'll show you how to do that. Or you can just say, look, I'm just going to do it from now going forwards. Now, what I would also suggest you do is that you break it up into car maintenance. Instead of just having car expenses, we can now break it up into car maintenance, WOF, Rego, that's registration, warrant of fitness, and road user charges if you've got a diesel, and then we have servicing. So you can now break each of those car categories up. So if we click into Toyota and we want to go a new category, again we've got car maintenance and we've got WOF, registration and road user charges, and we've got servicing. So now we've got those 2 cars completely set up, and we will just say to ourselves we won't use the car expenses one anymore. We will just, or you can also do car payment if you were paying off the car, but we won't use these ones anymore. So now if we go into our everyday account, and if we want to just go and click on category, so this is all of the transactions for these people since the beginning. So now what we can do is we can find all of the petrol ones. So we can go up here, we can search petrol, and I've already recategorized Toyota petrol here, but what you can do is if we just go back, I think there was more expenses in their credit card. So if we go up here and go petrol, there we go. So there's car expenses petrol. Now let's just say, just for argument's sake, that half of these, we'll just pick a bunch, was actually for the Toyota and half of them were for the Mazda. So we're going to unclick this because we don't want them locked, otherwise we can't change it. We go down the bottom, we say edit multiple transactions, edit the category, and let's just say this was for the Toyota petrol, and then the rest of them were for the Mazda. Again, multiple changes, Mazda petrol. Okay, so that's changed all of those. So that's what, if you want to go back and do that, then you can. If you're going to split them between 2 cars and you have to figure out which was which, I would probably just say from today onwards, I would split them. If it's all for 1 car, then it's easy. You just manually, just do a bulk change. So that's how we do that. Now the final piece of the puzzle is putting the information into the memo section of the transaction. So going forward, what you need to do so that it shows up on your vehicle cost report is you need to put in these 2 little codes. D is for distance, and you put in D equals the speedometer rating, and V is the number of litres or volume equals, and then you put in the number of litres. So if you put in those 2 pieces of information, then that will bring it up in the cost report, and you just need to make sure you do that in the memo section for each transaction. I wouldn't bother going back and doing it for the past unless you needed it. Maybe you want to do last month, or you might need it for work, or for a business, but going forward that's what you need to put in, and that's a little trick. If your vehicle cost report's not showing your cars and your categories, it's probably because you haven't put that in, or you've put it in the tag section when it should be in the memo section. So it's very simple to create. So what we'll do is we'll create another one. We'll just use this transaction and we'll go inherit, and then we'll just say for instance we bought some gas last week and it cost us $67.85, and then we just put we would just write in, and I'll just write it in completely, D equals, and see how it comes up automatically on my machine. So I could just go in, pick the one closest, and then change it, and maybe we got $32.60. Oh, sorry. Change that. Try that one again. Change that to 9.1. Got an extra 50, and maybe that one becomes, like I said, 36.95 litres. And you just go add and close, and then this one should now come up on our cost report. So if we go back in and go up to reports, vehicle cost, and we pick the car, let's say the Toyota, and there you can see the 3 transactions. And of course the average fuel cost per 100k is very high at the moment, but as you go through more months and more years, it will come down to be a more reasonable amount. And then you can change to Mazda, and we've just got the one in there at the moment. So that's the vehicle cost report. If you've got any questions, please send us a comment. If you've got any other suggestions or things that you want us to cover, then definitely send us a comment on that. Like, subscribe, all the usual business. But good luck with that, and we'll talk to you again soon.